Alrighty, guys, something big is happening in our sky this July and August, and that's going to be Pluto, the god of change and transformation, coming into a tight square to the nodes of fate. Pluto will be backing into Capricorn, and the nodes of fate will be squaring from the late degrees of the Aries and Libra axis. We haven't seen this Pluto in Capricorn square the nodes in Taurus Libra since 1764, and before that 1521, etc. It's pretty darn rare. So we're going to talk about you individually, how it's going to show up for you based on your rising sign, sun and moon. But we're also going to talk about the collective and how it might show up for everyone at large, especially given in August, there's a T-square forming with Pluto in the nodes of fate and another square to Juno making a grand cross, which looks like a box in the sky, and that's pretty intense energy. We got the involvement as well during that big grand cross with Asteroid Hercules, the mighty warrior. And Juno, by the way, is not just the goddess of love and marriage and commitment. She's also the goddess that has to do with the word money. One of her names was Moneta. She also has to do with military safety and protecting people in a military way. In fact, she had a garb that was kind of like a goat skin with a sword or something in her hand. So she had a military and monetary role in the ancient world. She had many roles beyond being the wife of Jupiter. Alrighty, we always reduce her to like the love and marriage goddess. She's so much more complex than that. She was Jupiter, Minerva, and Juno had extremely powerful roles, like the triumvirate energy in the ancient pantheon of the Olympian gods. So we got to give her an up level every now and then. She's not just, oh, the goddess of marriage and love. No, how about moneta, money? And this is going to be maybe influencing the global currency situation or the crypto markets or whatever. I'm going to show you the picture of the sky. And I want you to listen as well, of course, for your sun, moon, and rising sign. But this is going to be the most impactful individually if you are any of the cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer, especially if your ascendant degree or your sun and moon degree are in the last 5 degrees of those signs. Because you're going to really feel this intensity of this energy of a T-square, and then it forms into a perfect square in the month of August. So you're going to really get a lot of intensity around something trying to change in your life, something trying to transform in your life. But I'd say in general too, just all of the angular signs of Aries and Libra, Capricorn and Cancer are on the main story here. Okay, guys, I have 3 planets in Aries. So I'm ready for this, but am I ready for this? And then it's a little bit more flowy, right? Of course, if you are some of the other signs, you might not even notice anything's happening. But for those cardinal signs, you're definitely on the old celestial chopping block. All right. If you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the whole sign house system as are all astrologers on YouTube. We're pretending we're using whole sign houses to delineate for the collective, but I am actually using whole sign houses in my regular practice for 1,000 reasons. Let me count the ways. Also, I'm using traditional astrology. I'm a Hellenistic astrologer. I use Babylonian tools, and I often transport something from Indian or Vedic astrology that is useful, and I can transport without bastardizing that astrology. So if you're new to my channel, hit that like button and subscribe. You don't want to miss any of the 30 videos I put out every month. If you're into the minor asteroids, I always talk about them. I think that they are the devil is in the details. I have a free course, by the way, the Amazing Asteroids course. Check my description box below. And also right now, because I'm celebrating hitting 30,000 subscribers, yay me, I'm recording this for my Patreon community first on June the 6th, ad-free early access. You can check out my big sale that's on until the solstice, June 21st, in which everything in my store is half price off. And I've got a bunch of giveaways as well and freebies. So the link is in my description box for that half price sale from everything from all the courses I do to my 2022 All Signs bundle of your sign for the whole month, the whole year, 2023. Did I say 22? It's been a long day in a lot of ways. Let's get tracking with this narrative. Before we do all signs, I'm going to show you the sky for the collective, and then we're going to roll into the all signs. And you can check timestamps and chapters in order to find your particular rush to your sign. I suggest you stick around just a smidgen, just a little bit, to learn a little bit more about what this is about before you rush to your sign, because I don't want to repeat the big picture for everyone for each sign. Here we have August 12th. This is me jumping to what is obviously a grand cross, but I want you to know this. Starting in the last week of July to the first week of August, you're going to feel what is basically the North Node, South Node axis squaring Pluto. And in fact, around July 28th, using the mean node, and I think maybe around the 3rd using the exact node of August, but around July 28th, the North Node, South Node will be at 28 degrees of what? Let me annotate for you, if because some of you aren't into astrology yet. Although I hope to convert you to that. Let me annotate. Is it going to let me annotate? Yay! Look at that circle. That is the North Node of Fate, also known as Rahu. And it's about one's destiny, and it's a mathematical position. It is not a planetary body, though in India they consider it to be as strong as an actual celestial body. And that math is where the eclipses happen, okay? And that here is the South Node, and that is at 27 Libra on this August 12th. Now, just reminding you, it's the whole last week of July. Maybe I'd even say mid-July that you're really feeling it, because what we're waiting for in this oppositional energy between the nodes, which are always opposite each other, and there's your cross, right? Is that we're waiting for the nodes to move into the sign of Aries, which is going to be the 18th or so of the month of July. So until the nodes go to Aries and the South Node into Libra, you're not going to feel it. I know a lot of astrologers have been talking about since April through to October, you're feeling the nodes of fate in a square to, Pluto. Yes and no. Technically, literally, it's not until 2040 that Pluto will be in Aquarius, where he is until June the 11th, and he's going to back end retrograde into Capricorn. But it's not until 2040 that Pluto in Aquarius will actually square the nodes of fate, okay, in the sign of Taurus and in the sign of Scorpio, right? That's what people are talking about now. Oh, the nodes of fate at the low degrees of Taurus and Scorpio are being squared by Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, but it's not an exact square. Yes, it's close 3 or 4 degrees from being perfect, but it's not exact. And then when Pluto leaves on June the 11th, he moved on March the 23rd into the sign of Aquarius, and now he's backing up to go back to Capricorn, where he's going to be, by the way, for quite a while. He's going to be back in Capricorn all the way through until January 22nd, 2024. And then he's in Aquarius in, let me double check my numbers. Yes, January 22nd, 2024, he goes back into Aquarius, but he does not square the nodes of fate because now they're in Aries and Libra. And then between September 3rd and January 20th, he'll be in Capricorn once again next year. So you can see that he's just kind of finishing a Capricorn story, right? In the late degrees of Capricorn. So don't forget 2040, yes, Pluto will be in Aquarius squaring the nodes of fate, right? Where they're supposed to be squared in a whole sign square in the signs of Taurus and in the signs of, did I say that right? Yeah, in Taurus and Scorpio. Right now, what we got is this guy here. I hope you're still tracking with me. I hope I didn't lose you right now. Chiron, the wounded healer. All right. And the place where something can be taught, learned, healed, teaching, learning, healing, mentoring is Chironic energy as well. This is Hercules with his little arm up, and he's really close to the node as well. I'm just keeping Chiron here because Chiron's only here since 2019 to 26 in Aries. So it's just kind of like, hey, what's he doing hanging there? It's maybe worth noting. And then there's Hercules with his little arm up, and he's the mighty warrior of ancient times. He's a warrior, guys. Let's not mix anything up. He's a hero, yeah, but he's also a warrior. So warrior, he also slayed his whole family and had to do the 12 labors of Hercules for his genocide of his family, or matricide, patricide. I don't know what family members he killed. It's got a dark story as well. But here's Hercules. It was an accident, I think. Here's Hercules with the North Node, the warrior with the North Node of fate in Aries, a sign of war. And of course, Chiron mentored the warriors of the ancient world. So he's not too far off from like saying, war's fine, let me mentor you. But he was always about noble war, noble warriorship. And I have to note that on the 12th of the month or so of August, and just consider the whole first 2 weeks of August as hot spot, Juno in the sign of Cancer, the goddess of moneta, money, the goddess who also was also about war and protection during war and protecting communities in war. So she's got an affinity for the whole thing of war and war councils, FYI, as well as money and moneta. She happens to be connected to, we get our word money from Juno, by the way, and the month of June comes from Juno because it's a wedding month. So she's about weddings as well. But you can see that she's up here at 28 degrees and she's opposite Pluto. So if we want to go with money, we want to go with war, we can say what is going on here. Pluto, destruction, chaos, plutonium, uranium, nuclear devices. I hope nothing like that. And then there is this like tension that's quite make or break. Grand crosses are extraordinarily tense, very gritty, very intense energy. Over here, you can see we have Uranus and this little asteroid Hephaestus, the husband of Venus, who was the armorer of the gods and provided the weapons for the gods, often forgotten, thunderbolts of Zeus, courtesy of the artisan forgesmith, husband of Venus. Well, hey, if he's the armorer of the gods, and he's with Uranus, by the way, the god of the shocking and unexpected, he is trining Pluto, and he is sextiling Juno, who's also connected to war and government and state councils and war. We've got something going on in the sky to do with war. Okay, end of story. It has a war vibe. Hercules, everybody else is here. Not to scare you about, let's say, the middle of July to the middle of August, because this is all kind of heating up there and kind of hitting a critical intensity on August 12th. But it's what it is. This is what the sky is talking about. So you can't pretend the sky isn't saying something is pretty gnarly. Now, it could be a massive turnaround in the stocks or the crypto markets, or a crisis in the banking industry, or a financial disaster in the stock markets worldwide. Who knows? I mean, I just don't know what it is, because we got the money energy with Juno up here. Uranus kind of could be the Mr. Crypto for sure. He is flowing to the money energy and he's flowing to Pluto. So a major resurgence in crypto, or maybe some of those digital currencies coming up that governments are trying to create, central bank digital currencies, CBDG, maybe, I don't know what they're called, central bank digital CBDCs are being announced, which is going to make us have a whole new world order. There's nothing like a good new world order, says Pluto. You have to know that Pluto, moving through since 2008 in Capricorn, created the Me Too movement, created Black Lives Matter. And yes, Capricorn is the sign of people of color. And I mean Asian as well. I just mean not Caucasian, according to, not white skin, maybe, according to the ancient Hellenistic tradition. So just consider that, possibility too. That what we're seeing here, because we saw Black Lives Matter, we saw the Me Too movement, we also had the Occupy Wall Street, we had the subprime loan scandal, we had the banks being bailed out by the government, we had quantitative easing, but we've also had a disenchantment with Wall Street. The whole world is seeing through, corporate interests backing, governments, and, governments being an extension of corporatocracy, and this whole thing where the top-down power structures are telling people what to do, including what happened during the pandemic, in which, basically, let's just call a spade, corporate interest regarding intervention techniques and methods ruled the day over scientific logic, etc. So a lot of us have had, and the pandemic started with Pluto and Capricorn, conjunct Saturn, which everyone expected could look like a plague based on history as astrologers go. So we all see now that that's coming to an end. Pluto's leaving Capricorn, but now he's backwards, going backwards to the 27th degree, turns around the first week of October to go direct to finally leave, Capricorn for January next year. January 22nd, but we have to finish some old business up. There's definitely unfinished business happening in this sky. That's what I'm seeing here. And so we're going to go back into the mire of the Capricorn power structures. We're going to work with some stuff that hadn't been finished. Now, I'm going to add another asteroid just out of curiosity. And don't worry, I'm doing all signs. You're in the general section right now. If you're listening, have some patience, okay? Because I will get to the all signs portion of the story. I promise you. I just wanted to see what Hygeia, who is very associated with the pandemic story, is doing in this particular sky. I want to see, are you very active, Hygeia? That's her down in the bottom at 17 degrees of Aquarius. The only thing I can say is she's in a sextile to Chiron. So possibly, not probably, there may be some pandemic measure relationships. I mean, relative to the pandemic measures stories. I mean, new studies are coming out now, of course. So, lab leak theory's kind of been now accepted widely. A couple of new studies came out that there was greater harm caused by lockdowns than would have been if there were no lockdowns. New studies are showing that people who are vaccinated are more likely to get COVID than those who weren't vaccinated. These are not small studies. That's a Cleveland Clinic, okay? So I'm just telling you, this could be some of that story playing out in a very shocking way as well. The shocking part is Uranus. I already predicted class action lawsuits when Pluto went into Aquarius from the vaccine mandate era. Those are happening everywhere in the world. Germany is the latest country to have. Australia's already done it, class action lawsuits against the government, or if possible, the pharmaceutical companies. So maybe that story's playing out here. And if it's not playing out here, then we're definitely looking at war drums and war stories in a make or break tension in the sky. United States natal Sibley chart, Juno is in the house of the financial markets. So there we go with that moneta energy of money that Juno can stand for. And because she was associated with the creation of coins and currencies. And maybe also we have something going on here with the United States chart. The Pluto's in the second house of the money, the resources of the nation. And that's also been what, it's been all topsy-turvy since 2008. So there's definitely a lot of the money axis active in the United States of America. That's definitely what it is. How it plays out, it could be very turbulent for stock markets, that's for sure. New York Stock Exchange Sun is on Algol of Wealth Star, but also Calamity. There was a new moon there just recently on Algol in the month of May or June, whatever, my brain's offline, but you get the idea. So the month of May. And so, I'm just thinking about that as I'm sitting here, because where Algol is around 26, 27 degrees of Taurus. And that's kind of not too far off for shock and awe. Uranus is sitting in a sign to do with agriculture, land, currencies, of course, earthquakes, calamities like that could be a part of the sky. But don't forget, Uranus up here is in a trine to Pluto and in a trine to Juno. So he's trying to be sextile to Juno, more positive than negative. But yeah, what about Hephaestus, the armorer of the gods? What's he doing there? Any thoughts you want to add to that in the comment section of this video? I'd be appreciative. By the way, if you're watching me on the live premiere where I'm chatting with you, please hit that like button. You know how it helps my channel grow. Anything else to say? I'm going to just double check the back end of the software for a short bit here. Curiously wondering if there are any asteroids that I might have missed that could be indicative of something important. Let me just take a look. The North Node is also conjunct the asteroid Panacea, but I think it's out of sign, so I didn't include it. But that's a cure-all for everything that, makes everything better. Nope, that's it. I'm just double checking the asteroids. I'm not even going to pause the recording. It takes too much effort, but I will put one thing in here. I'm going to add an asteroid for everybody. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to add the Asteroid America. I don't even have to add the Asteroid America. I'll just tell you where the Asteroid America is roughly. All right. The Asteroid America is opposite Chiron. It's in Libra during the time of August the 12th. So it's somewhere like close to opposite Chiron in the software. So let's say the asteroid's around 19 degrees of Libra. And that means the asteroid's also in a flow to Hygeia. So Chiron, medicine, healing, medical stuff as well. Hygeia, of course, hygiene, but also doctors and medicine as well. They're in a flowing relationship to each other. And then this is going to be a wedge with America. So something to do with health and hygiene in America, and maybe some kind of flow or positivity, maybe coming out of the sky. Well, at the same time, holy man, what the heck is this whole thing about? Who quite knows? I'm going to talk about your sign next. I know. I may be looking at this again, adding more content as we get closer to August the 12th, when world events could tell me, is this a Taiwan-China story? Or is this a gnarly story that's taking place in connection to the Ukraine, or who knows at this point, maybe Iran, things that, look like, I'm sitting with it. Give me a minute. Nothing's really big in the Gemini part of the sky, which is the open enemies of the USA. So there is that positive energy to think about, although technically that doesn't always mean anything, because the whole world can be involved in this thing. It's not just the US of A. All right. And Putin is a Scorpio rising for all intents and purposes, and he's not looking too involved. Yeah, I don't think there's any more I need to say about all of that. Let's go through the all signs. Now, I can spin the wheel, and I think I will, for those of you who are totally into seeing the sky as it unfolds. So we're going to spin the wheel, and I'm going to keep it pretty close to the grand square. But around the 28th, that's when the nodes of fate will more perfectly square Pluto at 28 degrees, and the nodes will be at 28 degrees. That's using the mean node. I think a true node might be more closer to August 3rd. But you can basically say, starting when Pluto backs into around the July the 18th timeframe into Capricorn, some of these old stories either to do with a pandemic or to do with finances, the stock markets, cryptocurrencies, investment monies, war, these things are going to intensify, and we'll feel the intensity till the middle of August, and things will begin to wane. I believe that Juno's not long for this world, not long for this part of the sky. I didn't mean to go by a year. I do apologize. I want to see, when does that Juno actually vacate? There, she's gone already. She's really just moving more quickly and getting ready to get out of Cancer. Every asteroid's about 4 to 5 years around the zodiac on average. So there she is by August 15th, slipping into Leo, meeting up with what Venus will be doing there. Venus was, still there at that time. Okay, let's do all signs, and we'll start with Aries. And let's get that done around preferences. And no, I don't need that. I need to move myself to the hours, and we'll be moving into it. Hey, don't forget, if you're new to my channel and you don't know anything about what I do, just check that description box underneath the title, under the more button, and you'll find out a lot of stuff I'm up to. Unfortunately, to get a reading with me right now, I'm full. You can't book me till next April, but I'm reopening some doors for some limited spots in the fall, September through the end of November. And if you want to grab one of those spots, you need to be on my wait list. And there's a wait list in the description box for getting a reading with me. It goes to the wait list before I announce open doors anywhere else. It also goes to my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter subscribers as well. All right, subscribe to my newsletter and get a bunch of perks in the month of June. Alrighty, it's a big thing going on as well, with a big surprise for you guys on the solstice. Big giveaway for you guys. Sorry, I'm moving slow. I am in a slow mode today for some reason. Sunny in Vancouver, and I want to hit the beach. All right, this is my beach wear. I'm wearing my beach wear underneath all of this. Okay, so let's get going. This is brief, all right? Reminding everybody, the signs that feel this the most, that get the most oomph from this. Those are the signs of Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, and Aries, because this big square is angular to you, as you can see in the sky right now. And I would say probably then you need to, no matter what degree you are, sort of gird up for this intensity that is yes, if you were around 17, whatever it was, 64, you'd have felt it, but you weren't. And by the way, that was a buildup for the Civil War in the United States, right? Or no, the American Revolution. But taxation without representation themes were playing big time. The Sugar Act tax was in play during that time. And there was a war in the 1500s version of this in Italy that started during this time as well. I've got a giant beetle walking on my window. I feel like Carl Jung with his beetle synchronicity story. Wow. Okay. Let's get going here. If you're an Aries, sun, moon, but most accurate, quite often rising sign, you're going to experience this energy, especially if you have your sun, moon, and rising in the last 5 degrees. I'd say even the last 24 to 29 degrees of Aries. Well, let me just stop for a minute. In archetypal astrology, they give Pluto at least a 10 to 13 degree orb. So let's be generous with this Pluto story today. If you're a 20 to 29 degrees Aries, sun, moon, or rising, you're going to feel this intensity around what's going on in the sky here. This is the North Node amplifying, propelling you to expand and change. It's a place where a lot of destined change and expansion of identity will occur over the next year and a half. Now, at the same time, on this kind of mid-July to mid-August timeframe, you experience a dynamic tension between what it is you're focused on for yourself and the opposition energy to the South Node in the 7th house of primary love partnerships and significant others, including clients. I will be taking time off for my clients as an Aries. I just South Node there means I'm going to spend less time with clients over the next year and a half. I've announced that to the world already. I'm doing more teaching and less readings in 2024, but it starts in 2023. You can see Pluto, though, is squaring you, and that is from the 10th house of reputation and career. And Juno is also complicating things with a square from the 4th house of property, home, and real estate. There's some dynamic tension about property, land, home, and real estate playing out, as well as career and reputation and partners of destiny, as well as business partners, clients, and audience. Now, honestly, who knows? Who knows? You're working hard. Hercules is down there. You're being a guide, teacher, mentor, or finding your true purpose as this energy is expanding you. And yet all of a sudden there's this tension. You do have some surprise energy, though, some excitement in your 2nd house that flows to your reputation. That Pluto up there in the top of the sky could mean a sudden financial glow up. A little rags to riches is going on for some Aries in the sky. Maybe rags to riches also to do with partnerships as well, because, or money, moneta, Juno in the 4th house, buying and selling real estate and property, having a financial goodness happen, a kind of splash, a flash of money as this is occurring in your sky. You're ruled by Mars, and Mars has moved past Leo and will be trundling still at this time through the sign of Virgo. And that's also connected to your work. So maybe there's a work intensity. It can be financially positive, can cause stress, however, with situations with someone that you're significantly involved with, or business partners, or even with your clients, so who knows? I can give you a story that I win the lottery. Why not? Venus will be in Leo, which is a lottery win, and I'm an Aries sun and moon, and I just decided to ditch all my clients and pay them back, and I don't see any clients, and they're all mad at me because I'm booked out forever. You guys have already paid me for those readings. I'm kind of obligated now, right? But if I won a lottery, I'd probably give you double your money back and just take a break, right? I'm making a kind of story up, all right? Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. This is subtle. You're probably one of the least impacted signs. I don't even know if I want to tell you so much about, the degrees, but let's say Taurus, 20 to 29 degrees. Of course, you're the one feeling the Pluto energy the most, but that's a Pluto positive, divine, like energy of Jupiter, luck and opportunity. You could have some financial breakthroughs coming through your sky mid-July to mid-August with the Pluto energy coming into a trine to your identity. But on the side of that, there's all this tension from the house of addictions and self-undoing. Pluto can be a spiritual advisor, guide, a loss of faith in a religion, a calamity with a foreign land, or a legal matter involving courts. And because there's also a square to the South Node in the 6th house, it can be money and debt issues to do with loans and mortgages, or rentals and tenancies. And it's just very intense energy. You may also find that because Pluto's in a house of academic environments, you're coming up against kind of a crucible of tension with regards to how hard you're working in your behind the scenes 12th house in academic matters, for example, and something's got to give. I think that Juno could cause a conflict in a significant marriage, or difficulty regarding situations close to home, in your neighborhood, in your environment at home. Father figures belongs to the 9th house as well. Keep that in mind. Don't know if this could be some really gnarly kind of intensity regarding someone you consider a father type figure, and you may have some tension with that person, but it's breaking out and through the 6th and 12th house axis. So 6th and 12th house axis is really subtle sometimes, but it can be to do with money, resources, health matters, money's owed you or money's you owe others, for example. There is some kind of, Forge Smith of the gods, Uranus, invention, breaking outside of the mold, busting out, doing something your way, being original and inventive in the house of you that can soothe some of this tension, especially with Pluto in the 9th. You may be seeking some freedom to do it your way, and that is regarding all kinds of 9th house matters. Siblings belong to the 3rd house. You could be having some really intense sibling energy blowing up in your sky to do with things to do with foreign lands and shores, or backroom deals and negotiations, the 12th house, or hidden variables that you really can't see. You could be blindsided by something going on with a sibling, if that makes any sense to you, especially a younger sibling. Mostly, I'd say for you, take this intensity and try to power up something original and inventive, because Uranus and Hercules, the forge smith of the gods, are your allies in the sky, opening up a goodness to maybe make some positive sweetness out of what can be an intense and challenging time. Again, mid-July to mid-August, with this kind of more crisis energy around August 11th, 12th, you know? Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, let's say that if you are, again, a 20 to 29 degree Gemini, sun, moon, or more accurate rising, then you're going to experience this Pluto square the nodes from Pluto in your eighth house of chunky money. Yeah, mortgages, spousal money, inheritance money. I mean, I can't imagine one Gemini rising who says 2008 hasn't inherited some money with Pluto there, but also had some major losses or gains in the stock market, or chunks of money coming and going. And Pluto is now finishing up here, and he's coming into an opposition to Juno and squares to the nodes. So you may have a conflict with some significant life partner or business partner around money that could occur around this mid-July to mid-August time period. And or you could have some kind of breaking of a contract or agreement regarding money and resources, which could be a job contract or agreement. That's very Juno as well. And you have the square to the nodes in the 5th and the 9th, 11th. And so this is all hitting your money axis, right? All of those houses, 2, 5, 8, and 11, can involve finances. So looking to that, wondering if maybe South Node is some kind of, you could have a loss of money through a speculation and a risky investment. That's an example. Be careful. Okay, do not speculate wildly. South Node in the 5th, Pluto square from the 8th. This is not a time to take big chances in stock markets, for example. Or you could have some real big tension here with a child regarding financial stuff. Then you have some tension from the North Node in your 11th house of windfalls, pennies from heaven. Yeah. And also maybe greater gains from your career path and things to do with an elder sibling. All of this is to say siblings as well as children can be involved in a tense sky during the mid-July to August timeframe. If it's a sibling, it will be an elder sibling. You have support from Uranus in the house of your dreams at night, your inner life, and your deep unconscious, and maybe even karmic past life content. Uranus and Hephaestus is trying to support that Pluto intensity from the 12th house. If you do generate money from foreign shores like I do, because you have internationally resourced income through payment processors online, then this is also a powerful yes. You could have a bit of a real sweet uptick in that kind of revenue generation from Uranus Hephaestus in a trine to Pluto. But it doesn't discount this kind of gritty square that's also accompanying that time frame. I'm not sure, other than to say the good news would be that the North Node is in a positive and very fortunate house. And you may indeed be experiencing a great glow up financially mid-July to mid-August. But the tension may pull you away from your lover, your romantic partner, your children, and there could be a conflict perhaps with a sibling. Those are the downsides of what's happening. Don't forget, our individual skies are nothing as intense as the main story for the world. We're going to have a microcosmic version of the big one. Are you watching in my live premiere? Did you hit the like button yet? If not, please do. And thank you so much. All right, here we have the Cancer rising, sun and moon. And Cancer rising for you guys, this is the energy of, and remember, you're angular, you're one of the Aries, Capricorn, Cancer and Libra folk. You get the cardinal signs get the most oomph from this. So if you're especially 20 to 29 degrees of Cancer, you're going to get a lot more intensity. Now, Pluto is in the house of your marriage, business partnerships, your audience and marketplace clients. That's because it's 7th is 10th from the 10th house. And basically you've been feeling Pluto here since 2008. And some of you do know, I've met many Cancer risings, and I know you guys as clients and friends who've gone through calamitous death and rebirth in their marriage stories and significant relationships. I mean, one of my Cancer rising friends' marriage just fell apart in a shocking way with another man, her man getting involved with another woman. And I've seen other Cancer risings just have a lot of intensity in the marriage zone. This is finishing for you, reminding you that Pluto's coming back here only till January 22nd of 22. Then he's only back again September 3rd to January 20th. And you're done with all this intensity in your marriage house or your business partner house or your super significant clients, etc., and audience members. And so get ready for it to be almost done. But here we have this grand finale. Yeah, lucky you, right? Grand finale happening in the middle of the month of July through to the middle of the month of August. Whew. So Juno is what you want to do when it comes to, you're not probably Moneta, nor are you a war council version of Juno. You're probably the one who commits and stays faithful and fidelity and loyal and committed. Commitment in marriage, that's Juno. And that's your attitude. You know, it's very Tammy Wynette, stand by your man or something like that, you know, and that's how you're feeling lately. And you're going to stand by your man. And all of a sudden, mid-July to mid-August, the poop hits the fan somehow because Pluto opposite Juno is literally looking very gnarly in your case for marital upset, to say the least, if not separation or divorce. Juno rules divorce as much as she does marriage. Trust me, I've seen it in the chart. It's going to be a time to be proactive if you think there's going to be a blowout with your main person. Now, that's more true for definitely more true for the ascendant Cancers, okay? Less so for the sun and moon, because sun can be career and moon can be mom, moon can be home, sun can be father figures, moon can be mom. Yeah, you know the gist. Next. South Node is in your fourth house, letting go of a home, releasing land and real estate, letting go of family of origin or ancestral line narratives, a critical tension where you dump out the whole of your childhood stories and beliefs and your property that you live in and or your home that you live in. Opposite the North Node in the 10th house of reputation and career. Let's face it, are you a Cancer rising? Well, then you're going to find that your career is going to command your attention, and your public reputation, career, and purpose space will be on fire until the end of 2024, as the North Node will be traveling through there from the middle of July. And this is going to be this first kind of like really intense make or break vibe. And Hercules means you're going to work hard. You are working hard. Chiron is you're finding your original purpose, your true medicine for the world. And all of a sudden there's this tension with a significant client, a significant business partner, or a significant marriage type partner. All right, well, get ready and see what it looks like. It could be like anything. Your partner says, I want to move out of the house, that we're done. You go, I'm busy on my career, get lost. We need to sell the house. It's time. You guys, things like that are happening. At the same time, you've got some support from Uranus and Hercules. Hephaestus, the forge smith and the armorer of the gods. And they're connecting in your 11th house with good spirit. That can bring windfalls or good structures of support from an elder sibling. And that can also mean some illumination or awakening or excitement around a new wish or dream or goal for your life, or a big bunch of chunks of money coming to you suddenly, not chunks, but an uplift or an acceleration of the earnings you're making in your career. And at the same time, that energy of Uranus is going to flow to Pluto, and it's going to be kind of the soft spot in a tough, hard sky. You could have an opportunity through a client. You may have an opportunity through a significant person, a powerful, wealthy person even, to uplift you to a new and sudden level of success and earnings in your narrative. Or that same kind of event through a sibling can really show up for you in this particular sky. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. If you're a Leo, sun, moon, and rising, this is going to be the experience of the Pluto, where he was since 2008, moving into the last phases of his sixth house transit. Some of you may experience some calamity around debt, tendencies, pets over the last few years, health challenges, things to do with the excess of karma, self-undoing, and addictions. That's been ongoing since 2008. Now, this is coming to the last couple of years of influence. And as Pluto backs up here, he's opposing Juno, for example, and squaring the nodes. Juno will be most actively opposed closer to the first 2 weeks of August, but you could have some kind of cracking or shaking or breaking of some agreements or vows or commitments with somebody from a foreign land, or something to do with breaking some sort of situation that has been untenable in your life. Often the 12th house is often connected to self-sabotage or self-undoing. You can see that Pluto is square the north node in the ninth house and the south node in the third house. The third house is your local environment, like the neighborhood, the online world as well, virtual neighborhood, your neighbors, things to do with your younger sibling, travel, short distance travel, and skills-based learning. Now, South Node here is you're letting go of those areas. You're kind of releasing, surrendering, and letting God over the next 18 months. And as this Pluto square happens, you're coming into a crunchy, critical moment. Maybe you have to step away from a younger sibling. Maybe you have to walk away from an opportunity online or in your neighborhood, or maybe something goes down around a course you're studying, and it's very tense in some way. But this North Node is in the ninth house of God, temples, foreign lands, court and legal matters, visas, father figures, third marriages. And so for some of you, these areas are extremely, extremely active. With Hercules, you're working hard in academics or teaching or learning or traveling or court matters or book publishing. These are all ninth house stories, publications. Deeper under all of that is what's the meaning of your life. And so maybe you're coming into a critical, what's the meaning of my life crisis? What's my spiritual faith? You know, how do you reconcile karma and fate and free will? Honestly, this is the kind of sky you guys have. Yee. But you got some support from Uranus and Hercules in the 10th house. Hercules, the warrior, the mighty warrior of ancient times, the heroic warrior, conjunct the god of unexpected, electrical bolts of something you didn't see coming maybe, but it's flowing from the 10th house of career to the 6th house. With Pluto here, this can be the ability to have a lot of unexpected success in your profession that allows you to eliminate a debt, to get to rent a new property if that's something you're interested in, or to even find something in your career and reputation house, opening up some kind of doorway for a partnership, maybe a partnership with someone from a foreign shore that's going to be quite exciting for you and maybe even lucrative in the long game. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. If you're a Virgo, you're experiencing this energy, especially 20 to 29 Virgo. I'm saying this for every sign. This is an energy of Pluto finishing a journey since 2008 through your 5th house of romantic love, children, pregnancy, and fertility. I've known more than one Virgo rising who's had a miscarriage, abortion, or difficult experience with childbearing, fertility, love, romance. A lot of narcissists went through the lives of Virgo people during this transit in romantic context. It's also where your muse and inspiration are. You've been going deep. You've been like trying to find the deep, profound underworld of your inspiration in life and what really brings you joy, not just satisfaction, deep joy. All right, got that? And Pluto is finishing that journey. And as he goes through this part of your sky around the middle of July to the middle of August, he's going to become very gnarly and square the nodes of fate, or they will square him. This could look like some big changes in money, for one thing. South node in the earnings house and north node in the inheritance and chunky money house means that you may be changing your money strategy. And a lot of Virgos will be less around dollars for hours and working and hustling in the next year and a half. South node through the 2nd as they let go of an old earnings and income and possession strategy, and you begin to open up ways to leverage your money, passive income, royalty income, investment income, inheritance monies. Uranus is, and let's go to Juno. You may have this tension of some kind of significant partnership or agreements for commitment with somebody who is a friend or an ally or an elder sibling, and that's Juno in the 11th house, and you may be in a tension with that person around the middle, especially the first 2 weeks of August of that situation. And Pluto may be like really trying to blast through something from the 5th house of enjoyment and pleasure and inspiration. This could definitely look like the end of some alliance to a group you belong to that you were committed to, like, society, NCGR, for me, astrologer, or some kind of group of belonging, especially with Uranus in the 9th house of the spiritual part of the chart, the meaning of life, the house of God. You may be having some illumination, a spiritual awakening, some spiritual awakening or illumination. Uranus and Hephaestus are also in the academic environment. Some surprising but positive academic success, or book publishing success, or foreign land opportunity, or event developments that you want to forge something from it, but it's flowing to your house of joy, inspiration, or entrepreneurship for Virgos who are their own business person. You can get some money luck out of this because Lakshmi and luck go to the ninth, and Pluto's in a money luck house. And you may have an unexpected opportunity to create some kind of financial abundance in your life or something like that. Maybe through a partnership or an alliance, a new business partnership or alliance. And I'm talking about Uranus, sextile Juno, and trining Pluto. But this is going to only be short-lived. This is in August, first 2 weeks. Whereas this gnarly T-square takes place starting in mid-July. So look for some big changes around your money story, though. Some of it may feel difficult because, if it's an inheritance story, well, if you have any father figures with whom inheritance makes sense, this could be that kind of story. I mean, anything, grandparents can be included in that as well. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. So if you're a Libra, you're going to find this story is playing out in your sky, especially if you're a Libra, because you like the Cancer, Aries, and Capricorn have the most intensity. So yeah, sure, 20 to 29 Libra, but all Libras will feel this intensity. And you've had Pluto in your fourth house of home, property, land, and real estate, family of origin, house of the mother, ancestral stuff ever since 2008. A lot of you have found it very difficult. I've heard that from you. This is a dark night place, the dark night of the soul. Pluto in the house of the dark night of the soul can be very challenging. So it's a liberation house, an enlightenment house. It's also adding more intensity to it, moksha house. So Pluto coming through your fourth house is finishing up, as I said, back there January, leaves Capricorn January 22nd, but is back September 3rd to January 20th next year. But right now, him slide back into Cap will last until next January. And this is going to give you more of that story that you've been dealing with since 2008. However, it's going to be the middle of July to the middle of August where this T-square and this Grand Cross forms in the sky. Now, the North Node is in the house of significant partnerships, your marriage partner, significant monogamous partnership. Pluto from the fourth house squaring the North Node and squaring the South Node can be about a new critical turning point in a significant committed love story. It doesn't have to be negative. The North Node here is trying to expand, grow, and amplify your relationship that you're currently in, if it can. Hercules is saying, let's work hard. Chiron says, let's heal our love wounds, Pluto is really deeply saying, let's transform the whole shebang. And so look to middle of July to begin seeing this intensity here. As well as Juno, the commitment goddess, is in the workhouse. This is probably your contractual commitments to agree or, be in a work situation, unless it's about a wedding. So there's only two ways to code this. Some of you are going to get engaged or be forced to get engaged, or there's going to be tension around should we get engaged or should we get married or should we set a wedding date or something like that, if you're with somebody, obviously. And some of you may also be having a new agreement, contract, or some development going on in the workspace, but tension from Pluto. So new job you don't want, new job your partner doesn't want you to take. Because of some reason we can't see until you get there, right? Some of you can experience an inheritance in this story, or some exciting developments around property, land, mortgages, real estate, or investments in the markets and property, land, and real estate. Bit of rags to riches up there with Uranus in your eighth house of that chunky money, and then Hephaestus is the force of the gods, but also something that you might want to forge from some unexpected financial prosperity, mid-July to mid-August, but look for the possibility, because Pluto in the fourth can bring inheritance or legacy money, and legacy family money, of origin money is suddenly showing up in your life with no warning, can be a narrative for some of you Libra, sun, moon, and rising, that or unexpected but probably positive developments around property, land, and real estate during that time. Uranus is trying to fortify some agreements and contracts you could make, though, in the workspace that also align with greater money, like a severance package for leaving a job, for instance, just as an example. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. If you're a Scorpio, you're going to experience this energy of Pluto back in Capricorn until next January and then September 3rd to January 20th, FYI. And so if you're Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, 20 to 29 degrees of Scorpio, especially, but all Scorpios too, what you're going to feel is something subtle, slightly subtle. Houses 12 and 6 and 3 and 9 are metacosmios between the world's houses. It may feel to you not like it's going to rock your world, but it will feel uncomfortable, okay? You may not feel comfortable here. And if that's the case, well, let's see what we can do about it. This lack of comfort is going to show up as some kind of grit under the princess and the pea mattress to do with your health or your work environment, your own self-undoing and self-sabotaging strategies, things to do with your siblings or short distance travel or things in your local neighborhood or even online world, as well as some tension in your learning, education, foreign lands and travel, and maybe court and legal matters. Now, honestly, Juno in the ninth house is probably something to do with a contractual agreement of some sort. But if you're in a third marriage environment, this is Juno in the house of the third marriage. And in third marriage environment, some of you are looking at some difficulty. But otherwise, for most of you, it's more like religious, spiritual, meaning of my life, my dharma, things like that are really on the spotlight, especially in August. Pluto can definitely be the tension with a sibling, especially a younger sibling, and or problems close to home in your neighborhood, or even with a neighbor of all things, really. And if there's a flare up with a neighbor or somebody in the neighborhood or with a sibling, this too shall pass. But look for that tension to be most acute probably in August. Nonetheless, mid-July to mid-August, this kind of thing is happening. If you want to take a trip, you want to travel, you want to go on a journey, there may be some conflict here and difficulty regarding your work or regarding a commitment you have to a ninth house person. I don't know who that could be, a foreign lander, you know? Just look for that kind of vibe. I like Uranus in the seventh house, your significant marriage type partner, or somebody who's a business partner, or even a legal contract and agreement can go very well. Juno in the ninth, Uranus, if Hephaestus in the seventh, signing legal contracts and agreements that involve legal matters, courts and judges even, working out really well on your behalf, even in book publishing, getting an agent, for example, if you're looking for an agent or a publisher, this looks really good for Scorpio rising, especially sun and moon secondarily. And if that happens, it's going to include the potential for quite a lot of money. Pluto is in a writing house, Juno is in a book publishing house, Uranus is in the house of things to do with legal contractual vows. So for that kind of focus good. And also maybe it's good for an unexpected acceptance at a university if you're shopping universities and stuff like that. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Your story is like this. You're going to experience this energy, especially 20 to 29 Sag, as Pluto's finalizing of a journey since 2008 through your money house. You've been up, you've been down, you've been in, you've been out, you've been rocked in the financial self-worth and worthiness and possession zone since then. And now we're finishing up the narrative. And what we get in this story is this idea that you're going to find mid-July to mid-August rather tense, no doubt about it. The tension that you're going to feel here is probably not that unfamiliar, but it's taking on a new nodal axis flavor because the North Node has moved into the fifth house of children and romantic and sexual love. You may be finding an incredible amount of tension with those people in your life picking up mid-July to mid-August. At the same time, you're experiencing quite a bit of tension with the South Node, and that could look like falling out with friends or groups of belonging or difficulty with career gains and earnings coming through your sky in the middle of July to the middle of August. Certainly, though, I mean, if it comes to the fifth house with the North Node here, some of you with children, adult or children, will be paying more attention to your children over the next year and a half. If it's about love and love relationships, especially romantic, sexual, Hercules says, are you doing 100 labors to get this like relationship to feel good? Chiron says it feels like a wound. You've been looking at that wounded love story stuff, Sages. ever since 2019. And you will continue to look at the wounded love stories and romance stories until 2026. This could be a critical juncture or a turning point regarding how your self-worth is going to be transformed as you break through the tension of the wounded love and belonging stories that you've experienced. And, you've been letting go of friends, right? South Node, well, you will be letting go of certain groups of friendships and belonging because the South Node will be moving through your 11th house over the next 18 months. Juno, she's up there in your 8th house of chunky money, inheritance money. This can look very contractual. There could be an opportunity with Uranus in the 6th to rent a new property, forge a new rental agreement. This looks very much like unexpected opportunities for rentals. If there's tension with Juno there's tension between a lover and a child regarding shared resources. This is where that old alimony spousal support thing comes in, or whose money is it anyway? But for the good news, Juno here sextiling Uranus, great for rentals and rental agreements, whether you're the landlord or the tenant. Whew, okay, I'm getting ready to finish up because now I'm getting hungry. I could even say I'm hangry. Oh. Moving on. All right. If you are a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising sign, what you're experiencing in the sky is a movement of Pluto through your house of you since 2008. And that story is going to feel tense. You do not feel like you are not yourself. Whatever started up in 2008 for Capricorn rising, especially, that you're coming out completely brand new and transformed. Life has changed you. Pluto has changed you through your career, significant marriage, and home access, and you are no longer the same. Let's remember that. You're used to this, and especially if you're late degree Capricorn, let's say you're Capricorn 29 degrees, you got more of the intensity around this, right? You do, than somebody who is, well, let's say Capricorn 25 to 29, who's an early degree Cap. Because this is going to hit you a lot more intensely. And this is going to be a transformation event around the mid-July to mid-August to do with the following themes: love and commitment in marriage, monogamy and vows to stay and what is that wedding vow? I promise to, love, honor, and cherish you and all of that. Those vows are very active here. So there's tension mid-July to mid-August with a significant committed love or business partnership. It is in a square to the North Node in the 4th house of property, home, and real estate, and the South Node in career and reputation. It's hard to say what's going on. There may be disputes or difficulties with a significant other regarding the home life, where you want to live. You're working hard to expand into something to do with property and real estate and home. Your partner and you may be having intensities of disagreement about that. You may not know who's the buck stops here, who's on first, what we're going to do. You may be finding this has got a either deepening of the commitment with somebody you're with through the stress of this story, make or break, or an ending. So a lot of Cap rising, especially sun and moon. If it's your sun, it's more about your career, and that would be more like a business partnership than anything. But and if it's your moon, it's about your home, which is fine because we have tension in the home part of the sky. But if it's your Capricorn rising, it's about everything. So I don't know. This is a little bit of a make or break situation regarding business and love contracts and agreements. Make or break doesn't mean it's going to break. But there's something going on here you have to pay attention to. I think with Uranus in the house of romantic love, children, money luck, that's very positive. And that can be unexpected gains financially through speculation, investments, and lottery wins. There can also be the energy of Hephaestus, the forgesmith of the gods. What are you going to forge in the romantic part of your sky, in the children part of your sky, in the lover part of your sky, in the lottery win part of your sky? That's going to flow toward that commitment and that deepening of that commitment, if that's what you need in love or business, and flow in an unexpected and maybe surprising but positive way to Pluto in the house of your identity. There's two stories happening at once here. That's the thing. You see what I'm saying? So, mid-July to mid-August, watch the sky, be attentive. If there's conflict with a significant agreement, vow, or partnership, it could be a vow you've made. Juno is a goddess of commitment and a house of vows. Is there a vow that you might want to break, or is there a vow you need to deepen into an even more tangible and real commitment? Okay. Moving lastly and not leastly to, we're not last and least, we're at the Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Um, so Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Here you experience this energy of Pluto finishing up a story that started in 2008. Oh, are you in the live premiere? Hit the like button again. Thanks. 2008, it was an enlightenment transit for me. I'm Aquarius rising. I had my first spiritual awakening in November 2011. Second big one was in 2018. My blog is The Awakened Dreamer. I'm just using me as an example. I know myself the best. So anyone who experienced Pluto transiting the 12th house, which is us Aquarius risings, had degrees of enlightenment, transformation of addictions and self-undoing, breaking and busting through those restrictions and limitations where we fall away from ourself, where we undo ourself. Now, we also may have deepened our moksha, enlightenment, spiritual liberation, and transformed in that direction, as well as created more power and wealth through international revenue and foreign shores. This journey of Pluto, as he finishes up here, right, is going to impact us, of course, and it's going to be a Pluto squaring the north node of fate in the 3rd house and the south node of destiny in the 9th house. Tension between foreign shores, foreign lands, third marriages, things to do with academia, book publishing, and the north node in the house of the goddess, the 3rd house, which has to do with your online world, your short distance travel, your siblings, your local community, and your virtual community. Pluto square the north node where Hercules has been working hard. That's like me working my ass off online. I don't know how other Aquariuses feel it. Could end up looking like some big tension with a younger sibling, some big shifts around your online world, things like that. And then Juno in the 6th house, well, she wants some kind of contractual agreement regarding tenancies, for example. And that looks good on you because Uranus and Hephaestus in the 4th house of property, sextiling the leases and landlord type stuff of Juno in the 6th looks very positive around mid-July to mid-August. But also, there's also the idea that what is Pluto doing squaring off with Juno? Why are they doing that? If you have any karmic debt relationships that need to go, and you've committed to stick it with it through tried and true, thick and thin, high water and hell water, whatever, hell or high water, you could break away from those karmically indebted relationships with Pluto in the 12th, opposite Juno in the 6th during mid-July to mid-August, especially as you get to August. And then there's a square to the house of siblings. Maybe some of you have to break up with a sibling, aunt, uncle, niece, cousin, or nephew, all of the extended family. You may be traveling, trips and travel, tension between a romantic partnership or agreements and someone you're dating, you're not married to yet. And you have trips and travel happening mid-July to mid-August, and it's causing tension with that person. Pluto is in the house of foreign lands. You could have tension with someone who's a foreigner, etc. South node of the 9th house, so is letting go, releasing and surrendering some 9th house things, an end of a belief, the end of some kind of spiritual system of belief that you've been clinging to. North node is going to activate your 3rd house for the next year and a half. You're going to be glowing up in your online, virtual neighborhood, sibling connections, pushing more energy into that part of the sky and moving away from anything that was 9th housey, book publishing, academia. This is a really good transit of the North Node for anyone who's got an online business because the 3rd house is your social media platforms. But here's this tension hitting the sky. Are you working so hard in your online business with revenue from foreign shores that you're the person you've been dating, Juno in the house of dating, is going to be, hitting a fed up place? That's a possibility because I work my ass off and I am dating someone. So maybe it's about getting time together. But unexpected positive developments around the 4th house too. So good property developments, real estate, land, even pets can kick into gear during the mid-July to mid-August timeframe. First and always first, Pisces sun, moon, especially rising sign. Well, if you're a Pisces moon and rising sign and sun, here's what's happening. You've got the energy of this transit of Pluto through your 11th house of good spirit. Pluto up here is definitely able to provide you with great gains for your career, but he's been transforming your friendships, your groups of belonging, and those types of ways you create career gains since 2008. And you've experienced maybe the death of friendships or the literal death of friends, and you've been transforming your dreams and goals and wishes for your life. Pluto's back here, and he's also telling you another version of it. There's tension between an elder sibling, friends and allies, and career gains, and a committed romantic love story, perhaps. Or something to do with partnership and windfalls, partnership and money luck, etc. That tension is outpicturing as well in the income and earning space, because what's going to happen, North Node for all the Pisces, Sun, Moon, but most rising, is you're going to start to make more money starting, yes, mid-July of this year at 18 months. Suddenly you're going to start bringing more money into your life. And so there's a bit of grit here, mid-July to mid-August, around earnings, money, agreements with a connected romantic partner, Pluto, friends, groups of belonging, elder sibling energies. Now, because the South Node is in the 8th house of chunky money, which is inheritances as well as tax rebates and investments, some of this could also be South Node squaring Pluto, something to do with a sibling or a friend, and some kind of money story playing out. And there could be friendship tension regarding money as well, or sibling tension regarding money as well. The energy is hitting all your money houses, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. It was hitting the money houses for other signs as well, but you're one of them. So this could be a tension around money or your children. 5th house is children. Juno in the 5th house of children. What agreements do you have? What contractual abiding agreements did you make with a child that now you have to break? Or, even with a love or romantic partner. 5th house, if you're an artist, could be getting a contract. I guess, your book is going to get a publisher, your song is going to get a producer or something like that. But then, and there's good money coming off of that, but there's tension too. Uranus is in your 3rd house of siblings as well, and also the house of your neighborhood and trips and travel. And there is like a lot of electricity flowing from that part of your sky to Pluto in the house of friends and allies. Pluto is going to be supporting some good news from an elder sibling or friends and allies. It could involve travel and trips. And this is also supporting this more genial nature of a connection to a romantic partner with commitment or a child. So you may travel to see your children may travel to see you, you may leisure travel with a romantic partner. It opens up a corridor of goodness regarding things that have to do with your dreams and wishes, or maybe elder sibling, or maybe friends and allies. How this plays out, I want to know for everyone. Please let me know in your comments. It's really hard to delineate such a big transpersonal event as Pluto into individual stories. So let me know how it feels in your story. I'd love to hear. Certainly anyone, I should have said at the beginning, if you have planets even at, 25 to 29 Cap, for instance, or, 20, any of the signs of Taurus. Sorry, yeah. Any of the signs of Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer, planets anywhere 25 to 29 degrees of those signs, especially the inner planets like Mercury and Venus, you're going to feel this pretty strongly as well. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Hope this was useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Help the channel grow. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Vancouver, Canada. I need to get some sun or some outdoors activity. Ciao, everyone.